Logically speaking, there are and can only be two philosophical positions. Scripture refers to these as the way of the Spirit and the way of the flesh. Philosophy refers to them as apriorism and a posteriorism. Apriorists tend to refer to the difference as people who are citizens and those who are subjects. Reality is not fractured here along this fault line. The division is within meta-reality. What exists on each side of this division is a unique reality incompatible with the axioms on which the other exists. Philosophy studies information. Information has two states or forms of existence. Information is true or not true. If a person rejects the idea that reality is logical, they live phenomenological. Phenomenological reality exists as single, all-encompassing relativistic state of probability based on observation. Phenomenological reality contains no truth or lies. It is only observational probabilities, contingent possibilities, and synthetic statements that may or may not represent the reality beyond the shadow of observation. This is the extra-observational realm. The Bible refers to phenomenological reality as the world of the flesh. The world of the flesh denies the world of the Spirit. Spirit is information. For the soul to live in the world of the Spirit, we must live in the world of information. The way of the Spirit is based on logical coherence. Reality is composed of information. According to Scripture, Jesus as Creator is both the Word and Logos. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the light. These are not the attributes of a physical being. These are the attributes of a creator of information. Knowledge requires a language. Information is composed of symbols and syntax, or the code used to put information into a signal. The signal has to be transmitted from sender to receiver using syntax. The sender needs to code and the receiver needs to decode the signal. When several citizens, or users of information, have transmitted, received, and validated a body of information, it becomes knowledge. It is the citizen as a body of believers that validate information, and by this process turn information into knowledge. Information destroyed becomes noise. Noise can be transmitted, but there is no syntax, and no one who can decode the transmission. Biblical reality is analytical, logical, and a priori. Biblical reality is founded on faith in the information we receive. Understanding the reality God gives us requires citizens to embrace apriorist reasoning. Apriorism is reasoning from principle to particulars. God is the primary truth and God exists is the ultimate axiom. God's existence is the first-order principle. God as the highest and most perfect truth implies a particular way of thinking and believing. Christians believe only one way of living is right and all other options are wrong. In the liberal conception of reality, truth is synthetic. Liberals see the world as physical. Liberals think a posteriori, or from specific observations to more general conclusions. Liberals are empiricists that gather bits of data together to guide their conclusions. Empiricists strive to achieve a close approximation of the truth. The best the a posteriori approach can do is increase the probability an interpretation is more useful than a previous one. Interpretations remain contingent, probabilistic, and relative. Validation is beyond the scope of empirical, contingent truth discovered using the tactics of a posteriori reasoning. Information is created in a non-physical medium by sentient beings. No contrary evidence as to how information originates exists. Nothing suggests that reality is based on anything but the information that conveys it. Reality is the knowledge we have of it. Knowledge is not about reality, knowledge is reality. Information creates knowledge when transmitted. Noise is distorted communication. Information forms reality when the information transmitted is coherent and logical. Knowledge is information that is logical and coherent. If a signal or communication is not decipherable, it cannot be transmitted as knowledge. That which is not known is not real, and that which is not knowable is not logical or consistent with reality. Noise does not rise to the level of information. Noise is a signal that cannot be coded or decoded. There is no shared set of symbols that would permit what is being transmitted to be coded or decoded. Noise lacks validation. Truth is information that is validated. When information has been validated, it becomes factual knowledge. Empirical testing helps confirm an assumption is correct, but the process is not foolproof. Empirical tests may confirm an inherent bias. Most experiments confirm reality is physical. Experiments that assume the physical nature of reality are designed. More importantly, assumptions dictate the narrative and the way observation is interpreted. If an action or belief produces value sufficient to maintain it, then it is an action with value. Information with value is not noise. Truth exists on its own merits and substantiates its own existence. Actions and ideologies that must be subsidized create noise. The ancients understood reality better than moderns. Man, in the understanding of ancients, had a debt to the Creator. The tribal world was not mankind's to modify at his discretion. We were born into the world naked and would leave the same way. In between, we had to earn our way. Life was not guaranteed. We are all of us in this together. No one is favored above another, nor is anyone owed what was produced by someone else. The tribe had a sense of citizenship. But tribes did not develop formal means to define citizenship. Citizens earn their status. The best way to do this is by means of specialization. If we cannot pay our way, we are a source of noise. Apriorian teaches citizenship. The Apriorian way is a program for creating and attaining citizenship. Apriorian is an expert on the nature and role of citizens. Apriorian guides people to an understanding of the obligations of citizens. Apriorian teaches, defends, and prioritizes the rights of citizens. Apriorian believes political jurisdictions are an artificial creation of citizens. The Apriorian path to citizenship requires citizens own what they create. This includes their political jurisdiction. Citizenship is the equivalent of ownership. Denied ownership of the jurisdictions we create, we are subjects of the state. Subjects are not citizens. Subjects are not owners, they do not own what they create. The state exists as the de facto owner of political jurisdictions and what they encompass. Apriorian programs transfer subjects entombed in a state into a citizen-owned jurisdiction. The path to citizenship is identical with the path to sovereign ownership. Citizens have an inalienable right to what we create. No one has a claim on equity created by another. All illicit claims to equity are recorded as liabilities. All liabilities are symptomatic of the status of a subject. Citizens do not have liabilities. Citizens do not owe obligations to the state. The path to citizenship consists of the systematic elimination of liabilities and ultimately, the elimination of the state.